Is there anyone in baseball more hot and cold than Domingo Germán?
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias, and this episode is brought to you by Sleeper. Swing for the fences on Sleeper Picks, and you can win up to 100 times your money. Download the Sleeper app and use promo code Locked On, and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply, so check out Sleeper today. It's currently operational in over 30 states. With me, as always, is my producer, Steve Granado. Steve.
Today's show. We'll focus on the show. Hey, on today's show, thanks so much for checking us out. Of course, you have a preview of the finale against the Mets. Final game between the two in the Subway Series wraps up here tonight at 7:05. There's been a lot of chatter, Stacey, about Cody Bellinger. Let's talk about Cody Bellinger later on in the show. Should the Yankees go after him if they're buyers? We're going to do that in just a little bit. First, Stacey, Pete Alonso. Game of the year for Pete Alonso. He just destroyed Domingo Germán. He just destroyed him.
Whatever. I don't like Pete Alonso. I'm coming out right now and saying it. I think he's a geek. I do. I find him annoying, and I wouldn't like him on the Yankees because I know people always talk about, oh, well, if he was a Yankee, you'd love him. No, I wouldn't. There are certain guys around baseball that I would never like as a Yankee, and he's one of them. Whatever. Good game for you against Domingo Germán, Pete. Good job. Good job.
Just it kind of got started there in the first. That RBI knock he had, a changeup that got left up. Then the changeup that went down and in on him. That 3-run shot in the third. A center cut fastball in the sixth. Solo shot. Vogie goes back to back. Like it was homer heaven and on the wrong side of the ball. And I mean the Mets showed up. They made Germán look silly. They took advantage of mistakes. They did everything a baseball team is supposed to do, and that's why they came out on top 9-3. It's just what happens. The Mets were the better team last night.
Just for last night. They're still not better. They're still bad. Let's get that straight because I'm sick and tired of Mets fans treating the Subway Series like it's this big thing. Because I was looking on Instagram and all my Met fan friends were like, so excited. Oh my God, they beat the Yankees 9-3. Your team still hasn't won 50 games. They're still probably going to sell at the deadline. They spent $350 million to be bad. So just calm down because the Yankees are just awful right now. I don't know how this team has 53 wins. I really don't. When I watch them play, when I see those outfielders doing what they're doing in the outfielder, when I see Domingo Germán serving home run pitches up on a plate for these guys, how do they have 53 wins? It's unbelievable to me.
53 and 48 on the season. The Angels closing in on them in the wild card chase. It's a tight race for that third spot. That third spot is a real tight race right now, and I can't imagine it's going to be any different in a month, in 2 months. No. I have a feeling this is the state of that third and final playoff spot moving forward. That's way down the line. That is way down the line. Let's not focus on that. Stacey, you mentioned Domingo Germán. We said it at the top. 6 innings, 7 hits, 6 earned, a walk, and 9 strikeouts. Is that not the most Domingo Germán line we have seen this season?
I mean, it reminds me that I always bring it back to this. There was a line that Garrett Cole had against the Rays in 2021, I want to say, where he gave up like 8 runs, but he also struck out 10 in 6 innings. It was a really weird line, and this feels like that kind of a line. But yeah, this is definitely a Domingo Germán start. And the thing I don't understand is Boone. He takes him out when he has a one-hitter and he only has 74 pitches heading into whatever inning that was, how many games ago that was, before he had the perfect game. And then this game, he gives up 6 runs and Boone keeps him in there for 92 pitches. Hey, just go. Keep going.
I think there is a calculation done where you say, how worth it is it to use arms? And yes. I mean, yes, you have an off day on Thursday, but you have the big series in Baltimore. Like, you have to take that in consideration. There's no way you're not thinking about that.
He's looking ahead to both series after this because there are 2 big series after this. Yeah.
Of course. Germán, I think what I've learned about Domingo Germán this season is how extremely crucial it is that not only one of his breaking stuff works. His curve and his change have to work at the same time.
Yeah.
The changeup was not working consistently. The curve looked better. I mean, he got tagged on all of them at some point, but I think all in all, the curve looked better than the change. And those just need to work in tandem. And I think what that does for his repertoire is, look, he's not a guy throwing 98, 99. He's, 92, 94. So his change, when it's on, makes his fastball better because they have similar tail, similar movement, similar arm slot. All that stuff lines up. So 92, 93 looks like 96 when your changeup is working right, when your curveball is working right. All those pitches work together. It's not like, well, my fastball and my sinker worked today. I got by, like a Garrett Cole would when only one or two of his pitches is working. Domingo Germán is just not that guy. He's not him. He's not him in that scenario, right? He has to have pretty much all his stuff. I think he could get by without the sinker. He can't get by without the changeup and curveball. It's just too crucial for a guy who doesn't throw hard by today's standards in baseball. It just isn't it. Stacey, we can revisit this another time. We've kind of touched on it, but right now, did that really hurt chances for Domingo Germán of staying as a starter when Nestor comes back in a couple weeks?
Probably. One of our subtexters, we were texting back and forth during the game, and she asked, how did this guy pitch a perfect game? I said, well, he was actually perfect. His pitches were all working that night. All the pitches you need to work were working that night. He hasn't seen that since. So, yeah.
Yeah, and like his stuff is when it's on, filthy. Like his stuff is filthy. Like it really is. That changeup is nasty. That curveball is disgusting in the best way possible. It's just it's so rare that it works like that.
Right.
It's just and look, it's baseball, man. It's tough. Yeah. I think that's still a further conversation to have on who's out of the starting rotation when Nestor comes back. That's still a ways off. Justin Verlander on the flip side, complete opposite. 6 innings, just 2 hits. Did walk 4, so he's not totally back, and struck out
annoying.
6.
That's
Stacey,
annoying.
The Yankees had chances last night. They certainly did. They had the bases loaded a couple of times. I looked up some numbers that are going to really make you happy. Look, we know the offense is not good this year, right? We know that. Yeah. But get a load of these numbers I found, Stacey. With runners in scoring position, the Yankees are tied for the 26th worst batting average. They are the 25th worst on base percentage. And in all of baseball, with runners in scoring position, the Yankees have the most strikeouts.
Good job, guys. We spoke about this on yesterday's show. I said they were one of the worst offenses in baseball, and it was shocking to me that they had as many wins as they do. And here we go. They showed it against the Mets.
It's brutal. 53 and 48 now, heading into Game 2 against the Mets. Of course, we're going to talk about that later on in the show. But, man, it's just... How do they have 53 wins, man? You make a great point.
It's a miracle that they have 53 wins, honestly.
It's true. Wow,
Thank God for the A's and the Royals,
Yeah, 8-1 against the A's and Royals. 8-1 against the Rays and Orioles, or A's and Royals. I was mixing a couple of teams.
I wish they were 8-1 against the A's and Orioles. That'd be great.
That'd be drastically different. Hey, we'll see Baltimore this weekend. You never know. It could be a 3-game sweep. Stace, weird Aaron Judge updates. What else is new? We've been saying this for a few months. Boone kind of alluded that we might see him this weekend, but then also walked it back.
By the way, he's in Tampa.
Yeah, he got sent down to Tampa to do some sim stuff. So he's taking ABs. Apparently, he went deep in a sim game.
Yeah, they said 5 innings. I think they said 5.
Yeah, those are typically because of those shortened games. I don't know. I think that's pushing it.
It's rushing it. It's rushing it. No, I don't like this at all. Because with the way they're playing and with the trade deadline less than a week away now, and with these games against the Orioles, and it really feels like they're rushing him too much, and he could get hurt again, and then it could be even worse, and he'd have to be out like the rest of the year and have to get surgery. So I don't like this at all. I really don't. Wow. I don't trust them right now. You know how they are with injuries. I don't find this good at all.
Devil's advocate. Do you ever trust him?
No, that's true. That's true. But this just feels really, really rushed. I know they're desperate at this point. That's what it is. They're desperate to have him back. Like even just having him in the lineup makes it so much better. Just having his presence there, which is what I think they're trying to do. But yeah, no, it's a desperation move.
They're desperate to be buyers.
Mm-hmm. They really are, because the Yankees will never admit to be sellers. Even when they're like, we're not selling.
We're going to talk about that on tomorrow's show, by the way, whether it's wise to be that way. And we're going to, Stacey, I haven't really told you this, but I want us to take sides. Either you take buyer or seller or vice versa for me, and then we have to state our arguments. So that's
we're going to do like a crossfire?
Show.
That'll be fun.
That's going to be a little debate here, a little locked-on debate. That's going to be on tomorrow's show. Of course, you can drop your questions for Friday's show in the comment section down below here on YouTube. We have a pinned comment down below that you can hit reply to, and in there you can drop your questions for Fan Mail Friday. We answer as many questions as possible on our Friday show every week. Of course, if you want guaranteed answers and what Stacey was talking about earlier, texting with one of our fans, our subtexters as we call them, you can join Subtext. Yes, Subtext episode description has all the information. You get one-on-one conversations with Stacey and myself anytime you like, within reason. I'm not texting you at 2 a.m. But, of course, you get tons of other information coming your way on a daily basis. We text you roster moves, injury updates, things of that nature, and just our in-game thoughts on a regular basis. It's a whole bunch of fun, and there's a 14-day free trial down below in the episode description. Of course, on the audio side, you can also join that if you so please. We're going to step aside, but we have to have a conversation. A lot of chatter about Cody Bellinger. Is it a good fit in New York?
New sponsor Sleeper is a fantasy, sports, and real money gaming app focused on bringing people together through sports and gaming. Sleeper has become the fastest organically growing fantasy platform in the world with over 5 million active users. At Sleeper, it's not just about sports, it's about building personal connections and lasting memories. And speaking of that, I am Staceface, 826 on Sleeper. I have a couple of friends over there, and if you want to be my friend, please join and please become my friend. With Sleeper, predict the hottest baseball stats like home runs, hits, strikeouts, and much more to cash in on your daily fantasy baseball skills. Entries can be made in 30 seconds or less. It's that easy, and it actually is that easy. Download Sleeper in the App Store and use promo code LOCKEDON, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply, and you can see Sleeper's terms of use for details. It's currently operational in over 30 states, so check out Sleeper today.
Here now on Locked On Yankees. Hey, don't forget you can catch the Subway Series in every game this season on Sirius XM. They're serious about it. They ain't joking. Sirius XM. Check it out. You can catch every Yankees call with John and Susan. That's baseball, Susan. Hey, to the everydayers out there, tomorrow, as we alluded to earlier, debate time. Stacey and I are going to go back and forth on whether the Yankees should be buyers or sellers. Let us know how you feel about that down below. Of course, we are, going to be doing that on tomorrow's show, so hit subscribe. Stacey. Okay, it's rumor season. I kind of hate this part of the year. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be real with you. I kind of hate this part of the year, but it's a necessary evil. And look,
I know why you hate it, because no one will shut up about Shohei Ohtani.
Yes, that. But that's not even this is regularly. It's like the amount of news that isn't news that comes out over these next 2 weeks.
That's exactly what it is. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Drives me crazy. So, hey, we're not buying into the clickbait, but there's a possibility that the Cubs could trade Cody Bellinger, right? Very real possibility. The Cubs are middling. I think they could still win the Central. It's still a winnable division, but they have to make a decision. It's a 1-year contract. Cody Bellinger has done exactly what Cody Bellinger wanted to do, right? He went into Chicago. He signed a 1-year, and boy, has he proven that he can still hit.
Yeah.
So, that being the case, Cody Bellinger could be a Yankee, I feel. He very well fits 2 needs the Yankees have. 2.5, maybe.
Yeah.
An outfielder.
Mm-hmm.
A left-handed bat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and by the way, in reality, is a first baseman. A lot of people forget that Cody Bellinger is kind of actually just a first baseman that has been resigned to play the outfield.
Mm-hmm.
And has done a good job doing it, might I add. Weirdly enough, though, Stacey, the Yankees have the hole in left and have had that hole eons. He's only played 40 games in left field. That's in his major league career. His minor league career, he spent most of his time as a first baseman and some center field. He's only played 3 games at Yankee Stadium. He's 3 for 10 with a solo shot. And he actually hasn't played a lot against the American League East, which makes sense. He spent the majority of his career in the NL West. So the direct polar opposite of the AL East. But in his action against the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, the Orioles, he's played pretty well. So do you think, and this is in a seller's or a buyer's world rather, that the Yankees should get a Cody Bellinger for a playoff push?
Yes. It feels like the kind of move they would have made like 20 years ago. Like that big name, because he is a big name. And it's that guy that's sort of unexpected that you wouldn't imagine being a Yankee at some point. But you would hope, sort of, just because of, his father's connection with everything. But this feels like a move that they would have made in the aughts.
That's true. Because, I mean, what you are getting out of him, of course, is a former MVP, which is obviously always a nice trophy on the shelf. But, I mean, I think there is a realistic net positive of adding a Cody Bellinger. Again, this all comes with a caveat if they believe in this team, which is still hard to get a read on if they do, which I think they are having a hard time getting a read on themselves if they believe in this team or not, right? Like I think that's a fair assessment of this whole trade situation. As far as what the Cubs would want back, thank you, New York Yankees of 2021. They have good pitching depth in their system. Of course, Hayden Wesneski is a part of that. So they do have some pitching depth. They have some young guys that are coming up. They have great outfield depth. Pete Crow Armstrong is, I think, pretty dang legit. I got to watch him multiple times as a high schooler, and he destroyed what was very good high school baseball down here in Southern California. Pete Crow Armstrong was legit then. He is legit now. So he is their center fielder of the future. There's no denying that. Maybe a September call-up. So the only slight downfall of the Cubs system is they don't have a ton of immediate catching or infield help. Of course, they signed Dansby, so you know that shortstop is locked up for the Oswald Peraza people. But as far as a second catcher, because they have Miguel Amaya up there who's still trying to prove it. He's played fairly well this season. He's his first year in the bigs. He hasn't played a ton, but he's been there a little bit of time. They think he's their next catcher to replace Wilson Contreras, but they could definitely use a Austin Wells. They could definitely use a Ben Rice here in the coming days. Would you be willing to part ways with Austin Wells for Cody Bellinger?
Ooh.
It's tough. Remember, we've had these conversations about the catcher's depth before you give your answer. We've talked about how Higgy and Trevino still have a couple of years on their deals. You have Ben Rortvedt. Wells is obviously your number 2 prospect. I don't know if the Yankees would be willing to part ways with him. He's played well at Double-A this year. He just got called up to Triple-A last week. So, what do you think? Is it worth going in on this team and getting a left fielder finally for a couple of months minimum? Maybe he comes, maybe he plays well, maybe he likes it, maybe he signs in the offseason. You don't know.
Right. There's always a risk with that.
Yeah. Is it worth having the chance of him potentially signing a 3-year deal?
I don't know. And I'm not really a prospect hugger. I learned that lesson, years ago to not do that. But I don't know if I like losing Wells. I really don't.
Yeah, it's a tough pill. It's definitely a tough pill. It's still not sure whether the Cubs are going to sell because
Right.
we said they still have an opportunity to potentially win the Central. Don't think a wild card is in the cards, but they could definitely win the Central, I think, still. If they go on a little bit of a run, they'd clearly be selling Stroman. They'd clearly be selling Bellinger, and they'd be wanting some guys back there. I don't think the Cubs are too far off, man. I really don't. They're a couple pieces away. They're a couple of impact players, maybe 2 impact players away from, I think, legitimately contending in the Central on a consistent basis. So their rebuild is almost complete. They're I think, primed for a decent comeback here in the Central. So an Austin Wells, an Oswald Peraza as a third baseman or a second baseman, that's not too far out of the question. Is it worth 2.5 months of Cody Bellinger? It's tough, man. These are tough questions, and I don't envy people who have to make these decisions because
I don't either.
And that's why we're here on a podcast. Let us know. Would you be willing to part ways with Austin Wells for a Cody Bellinger? Just one man's opinion, just one man's proposal. Let us know in the comments down below. We're going to take one more quick breather. When we come back, we need to talk about the finale against the Mets and the Yankees finally wrapping up the Subway Series this season. Back here on Locked On Yankees for our final segment here on this Wednesday show. Stacey, the finale of the Mets-Yankees series of the season. 2-1, the Mets have the lead here over the first 3 games of it. The Yankees looking for a split or to lose the Subway Series. I know how you feel about the Subway Series as a whole, but should the Yankees lose 3 of 4, does that grind your gears?
I mean, it's just annoying that they're losing 3 out of 4 to a team. It's not because it's the Mets, if that makes sense. I mean, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I'm not like I was 20 years ago, or no, 25 years ago when it first started. God, it's been that long since the Subway Series started. I went to my first Subway Series game at Shea, actually. It wasn't even at Yankee Stadium. It was at Shea in 98.
Wow.
Yep, sitting behind the Yankee dugout, behind the visitors' dugout, and on the lower level, got a really bad sunburn. The Yankees won, and so it was worth it. And yeah, like those days were crazy. It's not like that anymore. Like, I know some fans want to try and make it like that, but it's really not the way it was when it first started, because it was such a novelty when it first started. And it was a lot of fun back then. 3 games on one weekend, 3 games on another weekend, like a month later. And it was just so like heated. And now it's like even baseball doesn't care about it with the 2-2 midweek series. Like they don't care either.
Yeah. I think I found for everydayers out there, they know, I mentioned the words grind your gears. They know what grind my gears, and it's Stacey mentioning the 2009 Yankees versus Angels ALCS. And I think I found the antidote to that, which is mentioning my age when you have baseball memories. And I think I'm just going to keep doing that, because as you were sitting at Shea Stadium watching your first Subway Series, remember I told you a couple of days ago on this show that in 1998, I was more than likely making my first baseball memory at a major league stadium. So
at like 5.
At like 5 years old, walking the track at Angel Stadium in Anaheim. So take that in your 2009. Stacey, Jose Quintana versus Carlos Rodón. Okay, I don't want to talk about Quintana. He is the weirdest pitcher in all of baseball as far as I'm concerned. No idea if he's good or bad. I think he's one of those anomalies that just like sometimes yes and no at the same time. Not really sure. A southpaw matchup. What's the reception at Yankee Stadium tonight?
Oh, God. You know, and there were people calling for that. Like there was a person on WFAM, not sure his name, who was calling for fans like, oh, you're a bunch of wimps if you don't boo Carlos Rodón on Wednesday night. I'm like, why do you have to fire people up? People probably forgot that he did what he did. Like, because it was like a week ago. Who cares? Like, oh, it's just going to be annoying. It's going to be annoying. I know it. Oh, God. Just pitch well or pitch okay. You don't have to pitch like a shutout. Just pitch better than you've pitched and just have your pitching do the talking. Don't do any hand gestures and just please don't make it a whole thing.
When Carlos Rodón exits the field tonight, will there be cheers or boos?
It depends on his performance. I don't think
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Will there be cheers or boos tonight? when he leaves the field, in the middle of an inning or at the end of an inning. What do you think? If this isn't part of your bold prediction, you don't get any points out of this, but will there be cheers or boos?
There's going to be cheers.
Wow, look at you.
I think he'll be okay. I'm crossing my fingers as I say that, by the way.
Just don't leave a center cut fastball to Pete Alonso. I think we learned that lesson on Tuesday night.
Yeah, just look at what Domingo Germán did and don't do that. Just don't.
Do that. Just pick the 9 strikeout part. Keep that curveball down.
The
keep
6
the change
innings,
up down
the
and
9
away.
strikeouts, the barely walking people. Do that, but don't do anything else.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how this all shakes out, man. This is I can't think of a weirder home debut possible, right? Like, this is a weird home debut.
I know. And it's like, I mean, if the teams were doing better, they're both, again, as I said this on yesterday's show, they're mid. Is that what the kids say? So it's not the same. If it were a Subway Series where both teams were really doing well, like even last year, like both teams were doing pretty well at that point, it would be a lot different. But right now it's like both teams are debating whether they should sell at the headline or not, and just not doing what they thought they were going to do. And it's kind of like, wah, wah, like that sort of a thing. I don't know. It is going to be a very weird debut at home for him, just because it's not as exciting as it could have been.
Well, just to think what's gone into this moment, just to get him on this field, like a guy has already has a reputation for a team and a fan base that hasn't even seen him.
I know. It's crazy when you think about that. Oh, God, why did he do that? Oh,
I don't care. I said that on the show. I don't care. You could have blown a kiss to me directly. I would have been like, all right. I don't really care.
No, I'm just thinking of the fan base. Like for me, I'm, whatever, but I'm just thinking about, because they tend to get riled up by things like that and take it as a personal affront, and they get really mad. So I'm just a little worried about that. So he just needs to come out again, 6 innings, 9 strikeouts, no walks, or 1 walk will be fine. A couple of hits, no runs. You could do it, Carlos.
We'll see. If he doesn't do well, it was a terrible signing and they shouldn't have done it. I told you, Cashman. I told you. That's what's going to happen. You already know it's all coming. That's just how it is. In the comment section down below here on YouTube, don't tell me if you care about the kiss or not. I don't want to hear it. We hear it enough. Don't boo him, guys. Come on. Let the guy pitch. But you can drop your questions for Fan Mail Friday to that pinned comment down below here on YouTube. Of course, if you're on the audio side, the link to our YouTube channel is, of course, in the episode description on your phone or wherever you're listening. Are you listening on something other than a phone? That'd be weird. But anyway, you can find it. It's in the episode description. Of course, you can also find a link to our subtext and a video explaining what subtext is, what you get with it, and all the fun that we have over there on it. That's all in the episode description. Again, tomorrow, buyers, sellers, it's decision time. Steve and Stace are going to duke it out on tomorrow's episode, so make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss it. That's going to do it for today's Locked On Yankees. I'm Steve Granado.
And I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. We will see you tomorrow.